As most of you know, I've moved out of the San Diego city into the mountains about 50 miles east of San Diego in an area by Pine Valley. It's called Guatai, California. And a few months back, we had a wildfire run through the mountains about 10 miles from where I live. So I thought I'd take a bike ride and check the area out. I started the ride from my place in the mountains, and because of my riding get-up, people know my place as the Kahuna Cave, or they sometimes just simply call it the Hippie House. It's about a 10-mile ride to the burn area, and the fire burned across the old historic two-lane Highway 80, which was used as the main connection between El Centro and San Diego through the mountains. The highway was built in the 30s, and it was actually a brutal drive because it was only a two-lane narrow highway, and there was no place to pass if you got behind a slow truck, which you always did. Then you were doing 25 miles an hour up the whole route through the mountains. So when you got stuck behind a truck, or any slow vehicle for that matter, you were doing the whole 25-mile route through the mountains at about 25 miles an hour. And because this was such a steep and windy road, all kinds of vehicles overheated along the way. So there were all kinds of water reservoirs that were placed about every half mile on the uphill sections so the vehicles could pull over and fill their overheated and boiling over radiators, which happened all the time. There's still remnants of these water reservoirs, and actually some of them are still used on the new highway that are intact. There are still parts of the road that are still intact, but most of it's been washed away and overgrown with the scrub brush. The area is very popular with hikers and a few bikers. The first, say, 2 miles of the old highway area are still in fairly good shape rideable, but it gets pretty rugged after that, as you can see. However, there's still remnants of the underground utility vaults and the storm drain systems. In this burned out section, there's still an active spring that was used to fill all of the radiator water reservoirs. Fortunately, the fire department and the forestry department and the air tankers got to this quickly and were able to put it out before it did any real damage. No structures were burned down and nobody was injured. Since it was so close to the highway, the new highway, they pretty much think it was a cigarette or something that got thrown out the window. Actually, the road that I live on and the road that I'm riding to this burnout area is part of old Highway 80. Obviously, it's not the freeway anymore, but this used to be the main line of travel between El Centro and San Diego. So overall, it's a great ride, about 20 miles overall, and it's always nice to get back to the Hippie House or the Kahuna Cave.